I know. Your boy done sold out. He done got him a great deal on a Demon 170 from Dodge. And then as part of the deal, he had to go review the Hornet and give a positive review on it as part of the condition of the Demon 170. He got to go and review a Charter Daytona, and he got to go review RHO. And he got to make sure he pays back all those guys who looked out for him at Dodge. But that is not the case, because as you see with videos, I'm still exposing things that I'm pretty sure Tim and the crew will not like me to expose. Because what if I tell you that even though I like the Hornet from my time in reviewing it, that still doesn't change the fact that I think it, the RHO, and the Charter Daytona EV is going to fail. But you know what's not going to fail is your ability to get the best prices online for your favorite aftermarket parts by your favorite aftermarket brands. So check out my friends at Just Bolt-Ons at DragRacingWheels.com, who can get you set up with the best racing wheels, Mickey Thompson tires, catch cans, exhaust, tonneau covers, cold air intakes, whatever you can think of. My friends at Just Bolt-Ons at DragRacingWheels.com have you covered. And I have you covered as well with my special promo code BUTTER that you can use at checkout to get up to an additional 15% off on your order. So check out my friends at Just Bolt-Ons at DragRacingWheels.com, where some of the best deals online just got a little bit better. But my 33,500 friends, let me just say, with the Hornet RT that I reviewed, I had a pretty positive review on it. Now, that Hornet RT review was not because of Dodge giving me the allocation for a Demon 170. It was basically that I made an off-color comment in a video, Dodge seen it, and then they was like, hey, why don't we try to, get influencers that have Hornets to see whether or not we could boost sales. Because if you checked out videos from OC Motivator or TK's Garage, that you'll see that there is literally almost 2 years worth of inventory on Hornets. And I know that I've had a positive review of the Hornet because I've actually driven it. And like I said, I put 3,000 miles on the Hornet. And like I said, I don't know if Dodge is gonna like that or not. I didn't really have a stipulation of how far I could drive it, but I did put the most seat time in it. And for what I could tell, it was pretty decent for what it was for. But as I said in my video, and as I told Dodge, it is way too expensive for people to consider. Because if you look at it like this from this standpoint, a Hornet RT is literally the same price as a Charger RT. And a Charger RT is going to have really more horsepower, more range, and more storage than a Dodge Hornet. It's just that you have a lot more tech in the Hornet, but it does not look as great as the Charger. Because I'll say it that the Charger is one of the best looking sedans that I think was ever produced. But the problem now is that Charger is going away, and now you got this new Charter Daytona coming out, and that Charter Daytona is going to have a hatchback, which means it's going to have a lot better storage options compared to the Hornet. Because the Hornet only has a nice little area if you're going to have some kids and you got some book bags or some groceries or something like that. And I said this to Dodge, I think it's going to be a tough sell between trying to convince people to buy a $50,000 Hornet or buy a $50-something thousand six-bagger Charter Daytona with a hatchback. Because at the end of the day, when you look at the Hornet, while mine only had one single issue, the only issue I had with my Hornet was I had a check engine light that came off for 2 days out of the 3 weeks that I had it. It was basically like a coolant issue, and the next thing I know, a day or two later, the light went off and everything worked just fine. So other than this one hiccup I had, everything else in the Hornet worked flawlessly. And I'm not going to tank a review because everybody just hates the vehicle because they've never driven it and they have their own opinions. At least I have miles in the vehicle and I personally know how the vehicle feels. I'm not going to basically blow smoke up anybody's crack just for a review on a vehicle. I mean, like I said, and even I said in the video, I personally would not buy a Hornet RT. That I would basically, if I had the choice, I would buy a GLH because it's supposed to have more power and don't have that heavy battery pack that's weighing in the car down. Like I said, that's my personal experience, but I don't see either me, Demonology, I don't care who reviews a Hornet next. None of us is going to convince the American public to buy this vehicle, because when you look at the Hornet at the end of the day, yes, it is a rebadged Alfa Romeo, but it is also a rebadged Jeep Compass. And a Jeep Compass is a cheap $20-some-thousand vehicle. And if you look at the Hornet RT and look at the Jeep Compass 4xe, they're literally the exact same vehicle. Same engine, same wheelbase, same cargo capacity, same fuel tank size. It's basically a rebadged Jeep Compass into a Tonale, into a Dodge Hornet. One of the main problems I think is that there's too much of the same vehicles on the same dealership lots. Because when you go to a Dodge dealer, it's Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram. So you're gonna see a Compass and a Dodge Hornet right there at the same exact dealership. And you're gonna see that that Compass and that Hornet is about the same size, got about the same engine, but it's like the Compass is way cheaper than the Hornet. But the Compass does have decent tech in it. So it's like, why would you buy a Hornet over a Compass? Now GM can get away with this because when you go to a GM dealership, not every GM dealership sells every different version of a Tahoe. Because a Tahoe, a Yukon, a Denali, a Escalade, a Suburban, all of them are the same exact vehicle. They just rebadge it and put them in different price categories. But when you go to a GM dealer, some GM dealers only sell Chevy, so you only see Tahoe and Suburbans there. Some of them only sell Chevy and Buick. Some sell only Chevy and GMC. Some sell only GMC and Cadillac. Some only sell Cadillac. So you never see all the different versions of the same exact vehicle at the same exact place. And I think that's where a problem is with Dodge trying to use, or Stellantis trying to use the same vehicle in multiple different brands on the same dealership lot. They need to reduce all these vehicles and basically come out with one version. Like honestly, there's no reason whatsoever to introduce the Dodge Hornet when the Compass is basically the same exact size, same exact wheelbase, and has the same exact engine. All they had to do was bring over a Compass 4xe and don't even bring over the Hornet. Why did Dodge even need the Hornet in the first place? Because I said in videos in the past that they should have brought over the Journey, a little bit bigger SUV, and put a four-bagger or like maybe a small, inline six standard output Hurricane in it, and you'd be fine. There's no reason to have a small, expensive crossover SUV when the only other SUV you line up is a big Durango. Like, where is the Journey at? That's the one vehicle that's in Mexico. They're going like, they should build that in another plant and bring it over here to the US. So the Hornet, if I had to give like a gut feeling with the Hornet, I don't know if that vehicle is going to last maybe another 3 years, because it's already in its second year now, 2023, 2024. I think in about 2 more years, they're going to have to just discontinue the Hornet because it is not selling. And dealership lots are just stacked piled with these vehicles that no one's even looking at. And so I think that the marketing for the Hornet killed it, because once you start seeing these ridiculous videos of the Hornet on the dock, and you got like a Hellcat Charger, a Hellcat Challenger, and you got a Durango Hellcat, and they all back up to the Hornet like they are afraid of it. I'm like, between that and Speed Week, those two things I think killed the Hornet. That marketing campaign was probably the worst thing that ever happened to the Hornet, other than it being $10,000 to $15,000 too expensive, which depending on which dealership you go to, you can look online, you can find some Hornets that's like 15 grand cheaper than MSRP if you ever want to pick one up. Like I said, gut feeling, I think they're going to discontinue the Hornet within another 2 years. So 4 model years, basically like the Dart, discontinue it and it's done, right? The Dart failed because it was cheaply made, and now the Hornet fails because it is way too expensive. Dodge has to find that middle ground between quality and expense, and giving us a vehicle full of tech that's more expensive than a Charger is not going to cut it. We've already had Tim Condition saying that no one wants to buy cars. Well, that's not true, because if no one wants to buy cars, Hyundai wouldn't exist, Toyota wouldn't exist, Kia wouldn't exist. I can go on and on all these car brands, but the problem is you can't bring it to the market either high priced cars or cheap piece of crap cars, expect to compete against the Japanese and the Koreans when they have doubled down on building quality, cheaper vehicles, right? It is not going to happen. And that's part of the things I want to go into with the RHO. The RHO, I think, is going to fail because it is literally the same exact price as a TRX was 4 years ago. And it has like almost half the horsepower, right? If I grab my window sticker right here, my window sticker for my 21 TRX has the exact same base price as a 500 horsepower Hornet, not Hornet, but RHO fake TRX. Me, myself personally, I could never ever bring myself to buy the RHO, but I know that I could buy a TRX, especially a used one, for right around the same price. That is ridiculous. Now, if you look at the TRX, it was $69,000 in 2021, and Stellantis intentionally jacked the price up to where you can't get a TRX. Even now, the ones that are made are not selling because no one's buying $120-something TRXs. Just because Ford made the Raptor R so daggone expensive does not mean it gives Ram the license to basically, or Stellantis the license to jack the price up, right? I mean, there's a fine line between profit and greed. And Stellantis has shown us over the last 4 years of existence that they're all about greed and not profit. And with all the crap I know is going on inside these Ram plants, or heck, even the Jeep plants, of all the issues, especially with the last video I just made with the wire harnesses coming loose, just as, you know, the UAW is making these vehicles go down the line. Why would I ever want to buy a RHO or a Ram Rebel when the UAW is basically telling us out in the public that if you go bump this vehicle a certain way, the wire harness comes loose and the things won't work, or the wire harness is so daggone stretched that it might be, you know, stretching the electronics out and not get a great connection, and the next thing you know, your AC doesn't work, your head unit doesn't work. Oh, let's say you might have a brake failure because there's some sensors and stuff in the brakes tied into the forward collision system or the rear collision system. So it's like, why would I go buy these vehicles when we know that Stellantis is making these vehicles as cheap as possible but charging us crazy prices? And I'm going like, man, it's like, we might see later on this year that the RHO, the removed Hellcat option TRX, might become the rarely, hardly on Ram 1500, because if it's having started issues because of a wiring harness or somebody gonna do a jump in it, because we saw yet again another commercial about the RHO could do jumps like the TRX could. You go do a jump, come down, and boop, next you know, everything dies on you. So it's kind of hard to see in the next couple of years this new crop of Stellantis vehicles from Dodge and Ram and Jeep is going to move the needle to convince people to actually buy these products. Because we all know now that they are very greedy and they are cheaply trying to put all these cars together with the cheapest parts possible. They have so much issues, and then they're bringing out more high price stuff. Main thing is that these brands used to give you the best value for horsepower in the industry. Maybe they got them in trouble because of all the fines and stuff, but that's just a problem of not being smart and trying to, you know, have a nice balance between efficient and high horsepower vehicles. I mean, if you look at the landscape, Hornet's not selling. I don't think any influencer, me, whoever, is going to convince people to buy the Hornet. You got the RHO, it's about to come. It's expensive. It's still 70 grand at the end of the day without any options on it. Then you got what the Wagoneer S is going to come. It's going to be an expensive Wagoneer that no one's even buying the cheaper Wagoneers. I was looking at Auto Trader today, and the Wagoneers, like if you want to do like a Series 3, it's like $120,000. You go find a 2022 variant like a year or two ago on Auto Trader used for half the price. And then if you go look through Auto Trader, you go scroll through the listings, you see all these buybacks. You'll see several buybacks on Auto Trader for Grand Wagoneers. Then we haven't gotten to all the Ram trucks. So what the already talking about the RHO. Then you have what the RamCharger that I was told for some people that's gonna be delayed to later on this year because they want to get the Ram Rev out first. which I don't think it's going to matter that the Ram Rail is going to come out before the RamCharger, because Ford had basically cut back some shifts and cut back production on the Ford Lightning. And then you have the GMC Hummer, that's a disaster. Then you got a Silverado having a slow rollout. You have the what was that Denali EV having a slow rollout, the Escalade EV slow rollout. So all these companies are pushing back, bringing these electric trucks to market. And here we go with Ram going full steam ahead in last place, but think that people are going to buy this truck, even though people aren't buying the other trucks that are just as expensive. Like I said, the RamCharger, that's going to be a difficult sell, I think, because it might sound appealing on paper, a 630 mile range electric or hybrid electric Ram pickup truck, but end of the day, I think it's still going to be heavy. You have a big heavy battery pack plus the engine. They put it in a Pentastar, I believe. So they put a V6 in there rather than a smaller Hurricane. And so now you got a big giant fat battery pack in there plus the engine. I guarantee that truck gonna be heavy as crap. If that truck ain't about 9,000 pounds, I don't know what to tell you, because apparently for some reason, Stellantis FCA, they have no idea how to build lightweight vehicles. Even the Charger Daytona weighs about 5,000 pounds, which is about almost a full 1,000 pounds heavier than a Plaid. And this is only in the Scat Pack of the RT version. So Tesla vehicles already have a leg up, plus they're cheaper. So I'm just wondering why we haven't seen any kind of price ranges for the Charger RT and the Charger Scat Pack, even though they're supposed to be hitting dealerships probably within the next few months. I don't know, man. But let me know what you guys think. Is Stellantis screwed in the next 3 to 4 years? Will they eventually sell off the brand? Will the Hornet get discontinued? Because it's not looking good. But let me know what you guys think. And until the next video, I'm out.